Tonight, we're diving into 4 stories from the RBI subreddit, so sit back, relax, and let's step in to the darkness. Imagine how shocked you would be if you found out about a cult that had existed for years, which the government seemed to ignore. This is what happened to one Redditor. I was talking about cults or something like that this morning, and then my grandmother tells me about a Quebec cult that is still active, which is kind of sectarian school which is illegal in Canada. The school says, for example, that planets do not exist, that the Earth is pear-shaped, and that the moon is part of the Earth's reflection, or something like that. And basically, what made me react is that this sect is known for forcing 14-year-old girls to marry adults, and I waited to say that a 17-year-old girl has about 17 children as a result of etc. And what upsets me the most is that this cult has existed since 1913, according to the cult's official website, and it has never been shut down or even faced legal charges that led to the closure of this school. And the cult is called Mission de l'Esprit Saint, which translates to Mission of the Holy Spirit. Basically, the cult's mentality is that women should only have children and stay at home, and unfortunately, they never finished their studies among women. What's more, this sect was founded by a former Montreal police officer, Eugene Richer. And I would really like that to change, because they are still standing in 2025. Please note that I know there is an investigation underway, but I don't believe them, because this has happened several times before, and they always end up being released. Very disturbing. So let's dive more into the history of this cult. Founded in 1913 by a man called Eugene Richer, Mission of the Holy Spirit is located mainly in Quebec, but has branches all around the world. The ones that are still slightly active are in California and North Carolina, and they span across many different cities. Richer's followers believe that he was the embodiment of the Holy Spirit. The teachings say that you can improve the human soul throughout your life by raising children who are better than yourself. It is this belief that often leads to disturbing situations, such as the one highlighted by OP, in which a 17-year-old girl married a 42-year-old man and had over 10 children with him. The reason we know so much about this particular incident is because the girl in question actually fled the cult with 3 of her children. She went to the press to explain how it was organised and to tell us more about the teachings. For girls in the cult, they are taught that their only purpose in life is to give birth. This means that they rarely get any sort of education past the first year of high school. The boys, however, are usually given permission to study technical subjects in the public school system around the age of 15. As we started to learn more information over the years, the authorities did start to show an interest, but because they were so scattered around the globe, there wasn't much that could be done. Instead, they decided that they wanted to start tackling them on a local level, and that began with shutting down a branch in 2019. In the Canadian city of Joliet, 200 followers of the cult had registered as a social club and were illegally gathering. They were inspected by the city and they immediately confessed that it was actually a religious thing. They were told to leave and ended up moving their meetings to another city. But their controversies don't end there, because they are also incredibly against the idea of vaccination. In fact, in the 2010s, they paid a group visit to Disneyland and they actually brought measles back to Quebec. Over 100 cases among the general public was reported, and it was an outbreak that also overtook their closed spaces. But disturbingly, people who had left the cult said that this certainly wouldn't get them to change their views, but rather, it would make them believe that they were stronger than ever. Like some commenters pointed out, the best thing to do to stop a cult is to shine as much light on it as possible. But sadly, it seems as though the media coverage of this cult has dried up. We need to make sure that people know about this cult, because if its existence ever gets forgotten, then they will be able to fly under the radar completely unchecked. Just wanted to quickly say that if you're enjoying this video so far, it would mean the world to me if you like it, subscribe to the channel and hype the video. Make sure that you turn on my post notifications as well so you never miss an upload, but without further ado, let's get back to the video. What would you do if you spotted an abandoned car on the side of the road? You may be a little creeped out, but the situation got much more concerning for this Redditor. First time posting in this sub, but I wanted to share something that my friend and I have been feeling uneasy about. We were on the way to a park in Nevada, an hour out from Vegas, and noticed an abandoned Kia parked on the side of the road with its windows down. We pulled over and wanted to check it out, since all the windows were open. The highway patrol had already got into the car and wrote NHP and the date that the car was abandoned, which I believe was July 20th something 24. As we were walking around the car, we noticed a pair of mismatched women's socks on the gravel, one with what looks like a small blotch of blood on it, but it could have been a faded logo, a smudge of pigmented red sand. Normally, a pair of socks on the side of the road wouldn't be too weird, but there were also two cut-up zip ties on top of the socks. We didn't touch the car, but peered briefly inside and saw a small decorative high heel, a hotel parking receipt, a few beverage cups, and water bottles. We just felt super uneasy and disturbed seeing the socks and zip ties, but I assume the highway patrol officer who tagged the car would have noticed those items too. Is there anything I should do? I have photos and an approximate location of where the car is, but not sure if this would be helpful to the authorities, or if those items are even worth reporting. The car is parked on a road where I think hundreds of cars would pass each day, so definitely not a remote location. Thanks for reading. A very disturbing tale, so let's investigate. We've got an abandoned car, possible blood, women's socks, and two cut-up zip ties. If we really take all of this evidence into account, this points towards a dark conclusion. There are at least 20 people in Arizona who went missing and were last seen in a Kia. Of course, narrowing down the search to the exact model would be much more helpful, but it doesn't seem as though that's something that is available to the public. With the plates taken off the car, we also can't know who the vehicle is registered to, even though that could prove to be a crucial piece of information. And as it turns out, this being something sinister may not be completely out there, as people who work as park rangers or near interstates have shared their disturbing experiences. One commenter said, "A park ranger out here found a car with its door open and lights on and still running in the middle of the road, and he waited an hour or two to see if anyone would return to it, and no one ever did. He was telling my boss about it happening, and I somewhat eavesdropped on the conversation, as I'm in a booth connected to the room they were having the conversation in. When I asked the park ranger if they ever found the owner to the car that was looking like it was abandoned with the lights on and door open, he said to me, 'I don't know what you're talking about.' But you could see on his face, he did, in fact, know, but was surprised I was mentioning it." Something that really stands out to me about OP's situation is that if the car was marked as abandoned in July 2024, why were the socks and zip ties not collected? If there was possible blood nearby as well, could this indicate that this car is completely separate from the current situation with the evidence, which happened in October of the same year? To me, and I'm sure many of you would agree, the only correct thing to do here is report it to Highway Patrol again. If they failed to collect the possible evidence, then that is disturbing in and of itself. But if that evidence has appeared in the months since they marked the vehicle abandoned, then that takes everything to a whole new level. Thankfully, OP made the correct decision and called them up. They told OP that they would be sending an officer to check it out, but they haven't provided any updates since. I've reached out for comment, and if I hear back, I will include that information in the pinned comment of this video. But for now, all we have is a disturbing incident and lots of potential evidence. Personally, I love when I receive mail, but I'm sure none of us would enjoy a confusing letter with no return address or sender details being posted through your letterbox. I got this postcard in the mail, and I'm unable to identify a sender. I've checked with all close friends and confirmed it's not a prank. Do any of these phrases jump out to anyone? I don't know anyone by the first name at the bottom, but they knew my full name, address, and for what it's worth, blue jays are my favourite bird and have sentimental meaning to me. Based on handwriting, it points towards a woman, but I am a straight female, so to me it reads like a man. It's postmarked in Amsterdam, but the image on the front is from the Queen's bedroom in the Royal Yacht Britannia in Edinburgh. Notably, I was in Edinburgh in August, but all lodging was booked under my husband's name, and I didn't engage in much conversation with strangers there, let alone give anyone my full name or address. Here is a text transcript. Dearest my name, I was sure for a moment I saw your blue jay at the window today. After all, they aren't native here. Does that mean you're following me? Or am I only hoping you are? This long trip away has proved to me how much you mean to me. Once I've completed this mission, I'll return and hope to pledge myself to you. Until then, every stone I collect will be dedicated to you. That thought will keep me going for the remaining 3 infiltration scenarios. They have no idea a shapeshifter is among them. Claudius. Certainly concerning, and commenters brought a lot of interesting theories to the discussion. Someone brought up that they are Dutch and they know that the postal service does not issue a lot of different stamps, but this letter was shipped from the Netherlands and they don't recognize it. They post a lot of mail internationally, and even to them, this particular stamp stood out, and they believe that it is actually custom made. Additionally, they mentioned that if it were sent internationally, it would likely state that it is intended to be sent to the USA, but on the letter, it is addressed to the US, a term that an American would be more likely to use. This led people to believe that the person was likely located in America, even though the letter had gone through the Dutch postal system. Another commenter came up with a brilliant theory, that this is a custom letter sent by someone who believed that OP likes the game Warhammer. There are multiple references to the game Warhammer 40k, including the name Claudius. There are many shops on Etsy and similar sites that will write you a letter in character from any fictional world, so potentially someone could have believed OP was a fan and got this sent to them. This would explain a lot, including the US writing, because if it were sent from a seller in the Netherlands, they would still use the delivery address stated by the buyer, which would likely state the country as the US. Of course, we also have to think about the possibility that this could have been sent by someone who took a notice to OP during their trip to Edinburgh. One person asked if anyone who worked at the hotel took particular notice of OP, as they would have had access to her address, albeit not her name, on their records. But she says that no one in particular seemed out of the ordinary. Time has passed now, and the latest update that OP provided was that they had attempted to submit a police report to keep it on record. They said that the police didn't really take it seriously, telling them that there wasn't enough information to go through with the report. One officer even said that it sounded romantic, which is an incredibly disturbing reaction for a law enforcement worker to have, especially when OP is clearly freaked out by the incident. This is where the story ends. And OP said in that same update that nothing strange has happened since. This seems to just be a one-off occurrence, but it certainly doesn't make the whole situation any less disturbing. One Redditor came to RBI with a desperate question. Had their friends' explicit images been posted somewhere without their knowledge or consent? So over the last few days, my friend has been followed by over 100 plus men on Instagram. At first, she just thought it was weird bots, but as more and more people started following her, she started getting the creeps. And she asked them where they found her, and she keeps getting the same response. The conversation goes, "Hey, I just wanted to ask where you found my Instagram handle. I've had a lot of new followers recently, and I'm just wondering where I've been posted. To which the common response is, hey, yeah, I can't remember where I found you, lol, I just thought you were cute. One guy said, were you at a concert recently? So vague. Another said, somewhere on Twitter, I'll find it for you, and never replied. I feel like the guys are being intentionally vague because whatever is posted of her is sus. Nobody has any nude photos of her that she knows of, and all her social media pages are private. Could someone have made deepfake content of her and posted it somewhere? Could someone who follows her have posted pics from her social media in some group? The followers have been easing off over the last day, down from 2 per hour to 1 every 3 hours, so it seems like it could be on a thread that's getting new posts, and the post of her is getting older. Is there any way to find out where/what is posted of her? She's just a bit worried there's fake content out there of her. With how the internet is nowadays, there is a disturbingly real possibility that OP's friends' pictures have been posted on some sort of group. In a lot of these instances, the pictures don't even need to be explicit. More and more examples are popping up and being reported in the mainstream media of women's photos being posted in private communities or forums. A lot of the time, they will be accompanied by their phone number or a link to their social media. And it's not only OP's friend who has experienced this, as one commenter shares that they have had a similar experience. I had loads and loads of random men start WhatsApping me. I asked them all where they found my number, and finally, after weeks, one of them sent me a link to a Telegram group called English Queens. And it's just guys posting girls' pictures and zoomed in pictures of their feet, etc. with their phone numbers. This was about 2 years ago, and still to this day, I get texts occasionally. They were also putting girls' Instagram links in there, so what I'm trying to say is that it might be one of those things. I have no idea how they got my details, but these groups are very prevalent, which could explain your friend's situation. To some of you, this may seem like an out there conclusion, but for regular viewers of the channel, you will know that it really isn't. There are dark corners of the internet where hundreds of thousands of sick individuals will get their kicks from sharing random women's information, a lot of the time with these girls being underage. Thankfully, OP's friend may have the answer to their predicament, but it certainly doesn't make the situation any better. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video and hype it if you did enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these stories, and also let me know what subreddit you would like to see me cover next. I was thinking of doing some stuff from Let's Not Meet. Of course, I'd still do the same thing where I have my little commentary analysis in between, because I feel like that adds a lot. And of course, let me know any other type of content that you'd be interested in seeing as well, because I'm always taking your guys' advice on board. Don't forget to check me out on social media. I have Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and also if you want to get involved with my little community, then you can join my Discord server using the link in the description. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members: Alex Rod, K4 Silver, Entrepreneur, Collectiki, Brooke, Carmilla, Based Finger, Midnight Kitty, Willow, Briar, X Fizzy, Shoshka, Frozen Roses, and Greenlee. I'll be back very soon with another video, but if you want another right now, then you should think that you like the video that's on your screen.